So at Google, you facilitated an initiative for empowering women and other underrepresented groups to speak openly about their accomplishments in the workplace and beyond, thereby breaking modesty norms and glass ceilings. Was it hard for you to do this? So if these kinds of modesty norms are in place and these glass ceilings are in place, I can imagine that it then makes it hard to kind of come up with an initiative like this in the first place.
Yeah. So I didn't come up with the initiative by any means.
Oh.
The initiative is called I Am Remarkable, and it's quite well known nowadays. It's spread all over the globe. It did start out of Google. It actually started as an internal initiative, and then it became this external public workshop called I Am Remarkable. It's not just for women, as you nicely mentioned it, underrepresented groups. It's trying to help underrepresented groups, because underrepresented groups, minorities, in any situation where you are the odd one out, it happens to all of us at some point in our lives. When you're in these situations, you tend to lose confidence. You don't feel like you're getting a voice at the table. There's these different things that come into play when you are a minority, and it's about breaking through that. And it becomes even more important, I guess, when we're talking about the data and tech world, and when we're considering gender. It's no surprise, as you mentioned, that women are underrepresented in tech. So this happens to us a lot, where we are a minority in a group. It happens to me all the time. In my analytics teams, I'm typically the only or one of very few women. When I speak at conferences or I'm involved in networking or panels, there's very few women involved. And it's not the most welcoming situation, even though I interact with amazing male colleagues. Mm-hmm. But it does make you feel like you are the odd one out, that you need to try even harder. And so this initiative that I was facilitating and a part of, it was to help underrepresented groups and minorities learn to get their voice out there, learn to be more vocal, learn how to sell your accomplishments. That's one thing that when you are a minority, you hold back, and you just don't sell yourself as much. And I mean that in a positive sense of the word, mm-hmm. because it's not bragging if it's based on facts. We're talking about things that you have achieved. And the workshop helps to just help you get the confidence and get a voice out there, because ultimately that's what you need to do to grow in your career. You're going to have to prove that you're making an impact and show your accomplishments. So as women, one thing that we've found often, there's a lot of studies around this, but especially women in a tech setting, you'll find that when we have to sell an accomplishment, we will oftentimes say we, like a team effort.
Right.
And when really, maybe you need to be saying I. What did I do? It's not always the team. Right. What did you accomplish? So you'll find women or just minorities will use the word we when they should be using I. Mm. And then another thing that's kind of related to this as well, but there's a lot of studies around this too, that when we go to apply for jobs, you'll find that women or minorities will be harder on ourselves, and we want to have accomplished 100% or 95% of what is being asked. Right. When our male counterparts are okay applying when they've only hit 50% of the requirements. Right. So we're putting too much pressure on ourselves when we don't need to be.
Right.
So, and going back to your question, so you had talked about how did I overcome this? I, of course, have these issues too. Definitely have the imposter syndrome. Like everyone, I think it gets magnified, or it's even worse for minorities, the imposter syndrome. So there's lots of advice out there on how to get over it, but for sure it helps, I guess, to track your accomplishments. Maybe have a weekly journal, look at what you've accomplished during the week, review at the end of the month, the end of the quarter, but have a tracking of your accomplishments just to see how far you've come. And it can help in your career to make sure you have regular check-ins with your manager and or your mentor to go through these accomplishments and maybe how they might contribute to the growth of your career, your professional trajectory.